This here is a Groove Customs switch guitar. Um, I'm going to explain what this is right now. And I'm going to have two videos. This video where I'm explaining this, and I will play it briefly. And then I'm going to shoot another video where I'm just going to jam with it for 10 minutes or so, just so you can hear it if you want to. But I'm not going to make you sit through, 10 minutes of my mediocre guitar playing if you don't want to sit through that. So to this thing, and then if you want to hear it more in depth, click on the next video of me holding this guitar wearing this shirt. So Switch was a guitar brand in the early 2000s, say 2004, 2007, that range, give or take a couple of years. I don't know if they sputtered out into near 2010. I'm sure they were up and coming in 1999, but like 2004, 2007, that area, I think is when these were in production. I think some were made in China and some were made in Korea, and that is hearsay. That was somebody that said that. I believe this model was made in China, but somebody said they were mostly made in Korea, so who knows. So this company's claim to fame was Vibracell technology. So this guitar is not wood. It is a material called Vibracell, and these are molded into this shape. They're not cut. They're not carved. They are molded. So it's like they spray into a mold and they bake it in an oven for on 350 for 40 minutes, and you pull it out, let it sit for 5 minutes, and enjoy your lasagna. It's these guys. Vibracell Technologies' claim to fame was in the name Vibracell. The material in which they molded these out of, which I believe would be similar to like a spray foam, but way more dense, obviously. They can tune the frequency that the guitar would vibrate based on the density of the material they were using. So they could alter that, and the idea was it being one solid piece that it would sustain longer and fuller because the resonance is going through the entire guitar. So, tone wood. There was a guy on YouTube, I think it was 2004 now, and he was explaining these guitars, and he was explaining Vibracell, and he was explaining how what I just mentioned, how that works, because I don't know exactly how that works, what he's saying. I mean, it kind of makes sense, but like it doesn't, it makes sense of what he's saying, but like, I don't believe it. Like, I don't believe it to be true, but I see how he's saying it, but I don't really think it's true. You want a guitar to sustain longer than average. If you want the strings to ring out longer. I don't know that a neck through is actually any better than a bolt on. I don't think so. Versus a set neck versus a solid piece of foam. I think that's it more runs in the setup of these Vibracell guitars. The ones that had fixed bridges were body throughs. That makes sense to me. It being a body through, having the strings go through the body, being directly attached to the body, that makes more sense to me. With a tremolo, obviously that's not going to happen, but having a bigger block on the trem makes sense because you're getting a larger mass to resonate or vibrate at that frequency. So I think I can imagine that would hold longer. But either way, it's still going through the vibrations coming through the springs, which the springs are going to dampen it. which it being larger, I suspect would sustain longer. And then the only other point of the entire guitar that you would get any more vibration would be the two posts right here. So I don't, so I don't think that has as much to do with the guitar neck and its association with the body, whether it be one piece, one solid piece, and then two flanks, or a bolt-on, or a set neck, which is basically just a bolt-on with, attached better, glued. Maybe that's a test to do. Maybe somebody wants to do it, or maybe I'll do it. Who knows? But anyway, there's some whether it's fake science or real science. There's a scientific reason why fiber cell is better than it's 19% better than. Excuse me, it's technically a plastic. I don't know. Well, anyway, that's a claim to fame. Is this fiber cell would vibrate at a certain frequency is far better than a wooden guitar, and a lot of the wooden guitars, even the neck throughs, are saying, are still like three pieces because it's one solid piece from here to here. Then they glue on the wings, which they're bonded and pressed. When they're like that, they're bonded and pressed on. And he explains that stops the vibration, like dead in its tracks. I don't think that to be true either. I think it's just the same. How tightly and precisely that wood is bonded together. There's a reason they call it bonded. It's pretty tight, and I'm pretty sure that when I hit this end, you hear it over on this end just the same. Same as this thing. Whether it's true or not, I'm not a scientist, so don't. I'm a skeptic, I guess. But that being said, it being a molded guitar, one piece, it's freaking awesome. When I got this guitar, it didn't have a Floyd. In fact, I don't think any of them came with Floyds. I put this Floyd in here because somebody had been digging at it for whatever reason. Maybe it was broken in a section, but either way, I just finished the job and just cleared it out, so it'd be a nice pocket for a Floyd. Everything else is solid. Had a big old gaping section here that was just a big old pocket because it's supposed to have a face guard, a faceplate with some pickups hanging in there. It didn't have any of that. Did not have machine heads. It did have the back plastics. The original color was this burgundy, sparkly burgundy that looks awesome, but the paint on the body was not in great shape. So it's still under there. I didn't shave. Yeah, it was pretty worn. Because it had been sanded before. Like I said, somebody was in here digging this section and it sanded some, so it needed some paint. And I didn't have access to this brown burgundy sparkly, but I did keep it on the neck because I liked it, and I just kind of wanted to keep some of its original luster, I guess. So examples of these guitars. A lot of them, the ones that didn't have the pickguard, a lot of them had single pickup with a trem, and it had that kind of like a Parker arm that went down at an angle. I think those look really cool too. I keep an eye out for these switch guitars. They're pretty rare to find, and they're not expensive, but they're not cheap either. This I got at a pretty reasonable price because it was nothing. It was just the body, and obviously the neck's bonded to it, so so it was just the body, and somebody had screwed with it. So forget where I was going with that, but all right. So the restoration. So this line here comes up. You can see where it almost wants to see where it is. See this little line? It's not really a line. I did a pretty good job of making it not a line, but there's a little bit. This line came all the way down to here, and it curved over behind it. In fact, it curved over just before this, because there was no tremolo here, so I had to into there. And so this plastic piece that went in here was just this big gaudy piece. Apparently, I tried making. I can't find one for sale anywhere. Period. I have no idea where you'd even start. So I tried making a couple of them, and I don't have a great success rate of making decent looking pick guards. Most of them, they turn out okay. It's not rocket science, but I don't like making them. I tried making a couple, and it looked awful. So, and on top of that, I like the way the lines suggested. It didn't depict that. So what I did was I took a 6x2, and I laid the 6x2 in, and wiped out that whole pocket there. So it's making it a little bit heavier than it would have been, but at least it's solid wood. And then I had the Floyd sitting right here, and then the pickup here, and then the humbucker here, and then the Floyd here. And I put it together and played it, and it played amazing. It sounded great. It played great. I adjusted the truss rod. It's the only time I've ever had to adjust the truss rod was when I first put it together. I've not messed with it. It's been inside, outside. I've moved. It's been in its case. It's been on the wall. It doesn't have its own case. It's been in a case. It's been on the wall. It's been all over the place. The neck doesn't budge. It's not wood, so it doesn't get temperamental with humidity. It just is what it is, which is awesome. So when I covered this up, I had the humbucker sticking out of there. This line continuing. It still looked weird because it just like where I covered up, it just stopped there. There was the humbucker, the mounting plate, and it was just ugly looking. Like it didn't fit because the rest of the guitar, in my opinion, it flows. I mean, it's almost like like an alien jet fighter. You know, there's an aerodynamics to it. Everything curves, and I have just that square sitting right there. The mounting ring that's just a rectangle. Even the Floyd cutout is rounded a bit. It contours and it's round with it. I think it looks okay. So, to keep this curve concept, I molded in the Ibanez Infinity pickup. It's the sealed Infinity pickups, the good ones. That's under here. One of my favorite pickups. It's super well balanced. It does tend to the hotter side. Which I like, but it sounds good. Any application really. This is bypass. This is dry. It's just plugged straight in, so there's no effects at all. So that's sealed in here, and I wanted to pick a good pickup, a solid pickup, a sealed pickup, because once it's in here, well, replacing this would be quite surgical. put it easy. Although I do reckon going from the back would probably be the way to go about it. Maybe, but that shouldn't have to happen. So I picked the pickup I picked. I picked the pickup I picked. Okay, so, sorry, pardon. I think I've gone through most everything. Alright, so, established that when I got this, it was just a big old hole here. I filled it, I put the pickup in, I didn't like the way that looked, it just looked stupid. So I sealed it in, I set everything up at the optimal height. With the Floyd and all that, so it should never need to be adjusted because it cannot be adjusted. It's got BC Rich tuners, but they're the same as any of those other tuners. It's the BC Rich is printed on that little in that little circle tab there. It stays in tune perfectly. Like I told you, the neck is solid. It never ever warps or it never comes out of sorts. But as far as the tremolo and the stability of the tuning goes on it, let's see. Stays in tune quite nicely. Doesn't budge. Literally, I was hanging the guitar from the tremolo. That is a solid guitar. It's a solid sounding guitar. The simplicity of just putting one knob, it's just a volume knob, one pickup, just a good pickup that's there. The tremolo it's a Floyd Rose tremolo. It's actually not licensed. It's actually a Floyd Rose. It says it's a Jackson by Floyd Rose. But if you look at the Floyd Rose stamp on the brass block there, so it's real deal. I think that's it. As far as heft goes, it weighs about as much as a Strat, give or take. It's heavier than my RG or my Gem. It's lighter than the Les Paul, so I think that puts it thereabouts in Strat range. And I guess the whole thing with this is it's different, you know. There's nothing. You've never seen anything like it, and maybe you never will see another one like it. But this is hopefully displayed to you that it truly is a solid guitar. There's no question. There's no questions on its stability for tuning. There's no question on its tone or its sound. It doesn't have any wood other than a piece in the middle, so there's no wood, tone wood issues. that's the end of my explanation of the guitar. I'm going to hit stop, and I'm going to hit record again, and I'm just going to quickly introduce the fact that there's this video, and if they don't want to hear as much playing, and they want to hear more explanation of what this is, they can get back to this video. I don't know why I just explained it to you, but that's what I'm going to do. Alright, sayonara. Or, if you're interested, I'll see you in a minute, because I'm going to play this thing for a while.